Shia, welcome to Dallas.
Thank you. First time I've been here.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
it's my first. There's a first for me, too.
Well, here we are.
First time I've ever talked to a Shia.
I know, there's not many of us. It's a dying breed.
What is the origin of the name?
Shaya, it means gift from God in Hebrew, which is kind of nice. But then my last name is what just flips it. It's LaBeouf, and it's Cajun. And LaBeouf means the beef. So the name means thank God for beef. They kind of screwed me a little bit.
Well, anyway, it's a wonderful name, and it's
Thank
a very
you.
good professional name.
Right?
The LaBeouf I knew was French.
Yeah.
Didn't know it was Cajun, but I knew
Yeah.
it was French.
Mine's spelled wrong, though. That's probably what makes it Cajun.
Oh,
Is that it's spelled wrong.
How should it be spelled?
It should be spelled Lebeouf.
You know, as a matter of fact, when I first wrote it, that's how I wrote it.
That's right.
Yeah.
But mine's L.A.,
Yeah.
which is, the French Ebonics is what it is the Cajun.
Well, anyway, we got the name all
got it.
squared
There we
away.
go.
Let's talk about this character you play, who was a real person,
Yeah.
Francis. We met, and wonderful. Turned out to be this wonderful golfer. Changed the whole game of golf, actually.
Yeah.
But we don't want to get too carried away with the golf aspect because there's so much more. How do you see the movie? How do you see the character?
Well, Francis was also, at that time, Francis was such a big, entity in sports, period, not just in golf. Golf was really a rich man's hobby in 1913. It was an elitist game. The regular man, the everyman, wasn't allowed to play it. And there was a huge disparity between rich and poor, where much like racism, people just hated people because of their class. They just hated them, didn't want anything to do with the poverty. And there was an influx of immigrants in 1913 coming to America to create this immigrant country. And they had no spokesperson. They couldn't identify with the president. He was identifying with the elitists. And so they had no voice. And Francis inadvertently became that voice, which was more of a social thing than it was a sports thing. Before Francis, you had athletes like Ty Cobb, who in retrospect, now we look back, we honor them and respect them, and wow, Ty Cobb, they become these iconic, heroic figures. That wasn't the case. It was more of an occupation when Ty Cobb was playing. It was like being a janitor or something like that. You would walk up to Ty Cobb and say, here's $4, teach me how to play baseball, and that'd be a bargain for him. He'd be into that. They were never looked at like these Babe Ruths of the world. Francis was the first Jackie Robinson ever. He was the first Tiger Woods, a person who came into a sport and changed the way the sport was received and perceived and looked at and played. And he was so young. And people like Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb, they were supposed to win. Francis was never supposed to win. One David against two Goliaths. He's playing, Harry Vardon, 6-time British Open champion, Ted Ray, 3-time British Open champion. He had never been on a stage like this. It would be like watching, Josh Flitter, the kid who plays Eddie, get in a boxing ring with Mike Tyson. It was insane.
I don't know. He could take Mike Tyson.
Maybe he's pretty tough. But it was never supposed to happen, And a social change happened because in 1913, after Francis had won, they started making municipal public courses in America, which created places that the everyman and the rich man could meet on as a level playing field and meet as equals. There was no place like that in America before that. And he created this sport. When you think about sports and athletes, he did more for his sport than any athlete has ever done for any sport.
Now, I take it you were not a golfer.
No.
All right. So you had to play a golfer and a good golfer.
The best.
How much of your playing did they use, and how much of the golf double did they use?
99% of me is in the film.
Really?
There's one shot that's not me.
Which one is that?
It's when the ball jumps over the other ball, and the CGI stuff, of course. But the rest is my swing. All the swings are my swing.
But now, today's swing is not the same swing that
At
was
all.
in 1913.
They had different equipment. They were hitting gutta percha balls, which are like rocks. They have no buoyancy. They don't fly. They're, it's like hitting concrete. And they had these hickory shafted clubs that would sway, So it was a different sport then. Plus, the grass was always higher. They didn't have the type of machinery to make it that thin and that pristine. Different game completely. More swaying involved to get the momentum of the club.
And the clothes are so much different.
And they're constraining, they're confining. It's wool. You're wearing these wool jackets, these wool, pants, and It was very constraining. Plus, in the rain, wool shrinks. So you're in the rain in these rain shots, and you're like, you can't move. But these guys did it. They did it in full, complete, suits. They were gentlemen. These guys were men,
And your suits were just like their suits.
Absolutely.
So you had to be all...
Yeah, we had a vest on, a shirt under the vest, a shirt on top of the shirt, a shirt on top of the vest, a jacket on top of it. It was like we were walking around like snowmen. It was crazy,
What kind of weather was it?
We got, we were in Montreal in the summer.
Hot?
Hot. It was actually the fall. Yeah, it was pretty hot, very hot. We had rain occasionally, It all worked out, though. We got our shots, so.
Compared with Holes, and people remember you so well from Holes,
Yeah.
how stressful was this movie compared with Holes?
Well, for me, it's sort of a transitional moment. Holes was transitional also. It was TV to film, which was a big transition in my career. This is a different transition altogether. Few people get here, and when they do, they don't execute. The child actor turning into an adult actor. That's another transition, a big transition for me, And I don't want to go about it the way of these movies with no substance or no weight, no meat, no meaning. This is a timeless film we made, where in 30 years it'll still be just as touching. There's no fads in the film that dissipate. There's no cool clothes that aren't going to be cool in 30 years. There's no, everything was simpler then. The way you courted a woman, the way you respected another man, the way you held your own, your presence. Everything was different. And it's kind of fun to go back in that time and see how romantic it was. I think we made a movie that means a lot. When you have presidents like Bill Clinton saying it's his favorite film he'd ever seen in his life. When George Bush Sr., at 81, during Katrina, is writing notes to the head of Disney Publicity, to Dennis Rice, telling him what a great film this was and he'd love to help promote and get this film out there to help people in America lose their mind for an hour and a half and just, love another person, love another character, and maybe learn something from this inspirational, story. Plus, it's unconventional in the way it's filmed, in the way it's made. This isn't, again, it's not Bagger Vance with the slow pace of it. It's very fast. It's a shootout. It's Star Wars meets Tombstone. It's a fast-paced, quick film, And that's what Bill wanted to do. I mean, who would have thought he would have went from Frailty to making a Disney golf film? You knew it was going to be some weird twist on it. And that's Bill. A lot of credit goes to Bill. He's quite a director.
What was it like doing scenes with this guy who plays Eddie? Because, as I've been saying, he needs to be arrested for scene stealing.
Yeah, he's very good at it. He's good at it, though. But it's great for every other actor, It's kind of, when he's in a scene, the scene's going to be okay, because he's going to do something that's just going to kind of shift the momentum. But I remember the first time I met him, this is how I knew he was Eddie, was when I watched Josh Flitter. I knew he was the character Eddie when I met him. He's the kind of guy who would hustle you out of your shoes and sell them back to you. But I came off a Constantine press, and I get off a plane, and I come into a screen test, and he's holding court with these Disney executives, like Michael Eisner, and these huge type of people, and he's 10 years old.
He's 9.
He's 9 at this point.
Yeah.
He's not even 10 yet. He's holding court, and they're all mesmerized. And I come up to him, I say, how can you speak this way? How are you so articulate? I mean, I bet you don't even have hair on your chest. He said, no, you're right, I don't, but you should see the hair on my back. And I said, that's him. That's Eddie Lowry. Get him signed up. We're going right now. He's a very funny kid. And we had a good time with him. Everybody learned to love him. He's like the little mascot of the movie.
Well, Shia, I have really enjoyed meeting you.
Yes.
And I hope that this will be the first of many interviews that we will do.
It's a mutual appreciation.
And I must tell you that your performance is just right on.
Well, thank you.
Because you so capture what this guy was going through. I mean, a guy with a dream and wanting so much to attain his goals.
That's great of you to say that.
And yet he's got these other things that are kind of getting in his way, and he overcomes. It's a great story.
Thank you. I'm happy you enjoyed it.
Thank you,
Nice
Shia.
meeting you. It's a pleasure.